Imagine a land so sacred, a people so chosen, that they faced millennia of conquest, dispersion, and attempts at annihilation. Yet, against every imaginable odd, they returned, rebuilt, and thrived. This isn't just history. It's a testament to an unbreakable covenant and an unconquerable spirit. Prepare to journey through 4,000 years of defiance as we reveal Israel, the land that would not die, a saga of resilience, faith, and rebirth. Israel, the land that would not die, a saga of resilience, faith, and rebirth. The narrative of Israel is unlike any other in human history. It is a profound saga spanning over 4 millennia, characterized by an enduring spirit of resilience, an unwavering thread of faith, and miraculous instances of rebirth in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds. This is not merely the chronological recounting of events, but an epic testament to a people and a land inextricably bound by an ancient divine covenant, who, despite enduring relentless conquest, devastating exiles, and systematic attempts at annihilation, simply refused to die. From the foundational promises uttered in antiquity to the bustling, thriving nation of today, Israel's story is a living testament to an unconquerable spirit and a purposeful journey that continues to shape global destiny. This extraordinary odyssey unfolds across a land imbued with sacred significance, a crucible where faith was tested, identity was forged, and the very concept of national survival was pushed to its limits. Join us on a comprehensive historical voyage, revealing the deep roots of Israel's endurance, the trials that forged its character, and the miraculous rebirth that defies all historical precedent. Part 1. Genesis of Resilience, the Covenant and Early Trials. The genesis of Israel's remarkable resilience lies not in military might or political power, but in a divine promise, setting the stage for a unique journey of faith and testing. 1. The unbreakable Abrahamic covenant. The story begins with God's unconditional call to Abraham from Ur of the Chaldeans. The covenant established with him was the first bedrock of Israel's endurance. God promised Abraham an enduring land, the land of Canaan, destined to be an everlasting possession for his descendants. This inherent promise of a physical homeland would fuel their return from every subsequent exile. Innumerable descendants, a lineage that would multiply into a great nation. This promise ensured their numerical survival despite centuries of persecution. A universal blessing. Through Abraham's offspring, all peoples on earth will be blessed, a profound indication of Israel's ultimate redemptive purpose. This unconditional covenant laid the groundwork for their miraculous preservation, regardless of their future faithfulness. 2. The Crucible of Egyptian Bondage. The first great test of Israel's nascent identity and resilience came during their prolonged sojourn and subsequent enslavement in Egypt. What began as a family reunion under Joseph evolved into 4 centuries of brutal oppression under the pharaohs. Identity forged in chains. Despite enslavement, the Israelites maintained their distinct identity, their faith in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, setting them apart from their captors. Miraculous deliverance. Under the leadership of Moses, God miraculously delivered them through the 10 plagues and the parting of the Red Sea. This extraordinary act of liberation became the foundational narrative of their God's saving power and their chosen status, a powerful source of hope in future oppressions. 3. Wilderness wanderings and the forging of a nation. After the Exodus, Israel spent 40 years wandering in the Sinai wilderness, a period of immense challenge and spiritual formation, divine discipline and sustenance. God both disciplined and sustained them through hunger, thirst, and constant threats, teaching them absolute dependence on Him. The giving of the law. At Mount Sinai, God gave them His law, establishing them as a unique nation with a divine constitution and a covenant of obedience. This law provided a moral and spiritual framework that would preserve their identity through all future trials. 4. Conquest and the struggle for the land. Under Joshua, Israel began the arduous task of conquering Canaan, the promised land. This was a period of constant struggle, testing their faith and resilience. Constant warfare. The period of Judges that followed was characterized by cycles of apostasy, oppression by surrounding peoples, and God raising up judges to deliver them. These struggles hardened their resolve and continually reminded them of their dependence on God for survival in a hostile land. Early tests of resilience. The decentralized nature of the tribes meant constant local battles, forging fierce warriors, and a deep connection to their individual inheritances in the land. Part 2. Kingdom and Crisis. Faith tested by power and division. The establishment of a monarchy brought power and prestige, but also internal decay, setting the stage for future devastating exiles. 1. The United Monarchy. Seeds of future division. King Saul, the first king, a flawed leader whose reign was marked by instability. King David, Israel's greatest king, who united the tribes, established Jerusalem as the capital, and received the Davidic covenant, promising an eternal throne and kingdom through his lineage. This covenant became a cornerstone of Jewish messianic hope throughout all future exiles. King Solomon built the glorious First Temple in Jerusalem, the spiritual heart of the nation. His reign was one of immense wealth and wisdom, but also of spiritual compromise and the seeds of future idolatry. 2. The divided kingdom, fracturing from within. After Solomon's death, the kingdom tragically split due to internal dissent and idolatry, profoundly weakening the nation. Kingdom of Israel, composed of 10 tribes with its capital in Samaria, characterized by political instability, rampant idolatry, and a rapid succession of ungodly kings. Kingdom of Judah, composed of the tribes of Judah and Benjamin, with its capital in Jerusalem. Though it saw periods of spiritual revival under a few righteous kings, it too eventually succumbed to widespread sin. 3. The Assyrian conquest, the first great death. The northern kingdom of Israel, weakened by its internal strife and idolatry, fell to the brutal Assyrian Empire. Its people were violently deported and scattered across the Assyrian Empire, essentially leading to the disappearance of the 10 lost tribes of Israel. This marked the first profound death of a part of the nation, demonstrating God's judgment, but leaving a remnant of Judah to carry the promise. 4. The Babylonian exile, losing the land, keeping the faith. The southern kingdom of Judah, despite warnings from prophets, eventually faced its own judgment. The Neo-Babylonian Empire, under Nebuchadnezzar II, destroyed Jerusalem and the First Temple, carrying the elite and much of the population into exile in Babylon. Resilience in exile. This exile was a devastating loss of land, temple, and sovereignty. Yet paradoxically, it was in Babylon that the Jewish identity was hardened. Without the temple, the synagogue emerged as a new center of worship and community, preserving their faith, language, and traditions. This period cemented their identity as the people of the book, a crucial element of their long-term survival in dispersion. Part 3. Survival under shadow, perseverance through foreign dominance. Even after returning from exile, Israel would not know true sovereignty for centuries, living under the shadow of successive empires, but always clinging to their identity and messianic hope. 1. The Persian Restoration. As prophesied, the Persian king Cyrus the Great conquered Babylon and issued a decree allowing the Jews to return to Judah and rebuild the Second Temple. This marked a miraculous, if partial, rebirth in their land under foreign rule. The spiritual focus shifted to rebuilding the community around the Torah and the Temple. 2. Hellenistic rule, the threat to identity. Alexander the Great's conquests brought Greek culture and philosophy. After his death, Israel became a battleground between the Ptolemaic and Seleucid dynasties. The Seleucid ruler Antiochus IV Epiphanes ruthlessly attempted to Hellenize the Jews, banning their religious practices and even desecrating the temple. 3. the Maccabean Revolt, a fiery reassertion of faith. This extreme persecution sparked the Maccabean Revolt, led by Judas Maccabeus and his family. It was a heroic struggle for religious freedom and national identity, demonstrating incredible spiritual and military resilience. Their victory led to the establishment of the Hasmonean dynasty, a period of independent Jewish rule for about a century. This period is celebrated during Hanukkah, commemorating the rededication of the temple. 4. Roman rule, the ultimate occupier. The internal strife of the Hasmoneans led to Roman intervention. In 63 BCE, Pompey the Great conquered Judea, establishing it as a Roman province. This marked the beginning of a period of direct Roman rule, often brutal and oppressive, with procurators like Pontius Pilate and client kings like Herod the Great. Jewish society became increasingly fragmented, with diverse religious groups each navigating Roman authority in their own way. Part 4. The Crucible of Faith, Jesus, Dispersion, and Unimaginable Loss. This tumultuous Roman period saw the most pivotal events in Israel's, and indeed humanity's, history, leading to an ultimate cataclysm. 1. The Messiah's arrival. In the midst of Roman occupation and Jewish messianic expectation, Jesus Christ, born in Bethlehem and of David's lineage, lived, taught, performed miracles, was crucified, and resurrected in Judea and Galilee. His life and teachings initiated a profound spiritual revolution, but his call for a spiritual kingdom often clashed with the Jewish desire for a political liberator. His rejection by many within the Jewish leadership led to his crucifixion. 2. The Jewish revolts against Rome. The inherent tension between Roman rule and Jewish aspirations for freedom eventually exploded into full-scale rebellion. The First Jewish-Roman War, a massive revolt against Roman rule. Despite heroic Jewish resistance, the conflict was overwhelmingly brutal. Destruction of the Second Temple, the tragic climax of the First Revolt. Roman legions under Titus besieged Jerusalem. The Second Temple, the spiritual heart of Judaism for centuries, was completely destroyed, precisely as Jesus had prophesied. This physical loss was a devastating blow, but Judaism found ways to survive without its central shrine, adapting through rabbinic leadership and the synagogue. 3. The Bar Kokhba Revolt and final expulsion. The last major Jewish rebellion against Rome, led by Simon Bar Kokhba, initially achieved some success, but was ultimately brutally suppressed by Emperor Hadrian. The Second Great Dispersion. As punishment, Hadrian attempted to erase Jewish identity from the land. Jerusalem was rebuilt as a Roman city, and Jews were forbidden to enter it. The province of Judea was renamed Syria Palestina, deliberately removing its Jewish connection. This led to the Second Great Dispersion, a complete scattering of the Jewish people from their homeland, fulfilling ancient prophecies. This marked the definitive beginning of the times of the Gentiles, where Jerusalem would be trodden down by Gentiles until their times were fulfilled. Part 5. The Eternal Wanderer, Diaspora and Unbreakable Hope. For nearly 1800 years, the Jewish people lived without a homeland, scattered among the nations, facing unimaginable persecution. Yet they endured. This period truly defines Israel as the land that would not die. 1. The Long Diaspora. Jewish communities, known as the Diaspora, spread across the Middle East, North Africa, Europe, and eventually the Americas. They built distinct, vibrant communities, maintaining their faith and culture wherever they settled. 2. Relentless persecution and pogroms. The history of the Diaspora is marked by a relentless tide of anti-Semitism, forced conversions, expulsions, and systematic discrimination. This constant threat to their physical and cultural existence tested their endurance to its absolute limits. 3. Resilience of identity. Despite these overwhelming pressures, the Jewish people maintained their distinct religious, cultural, and ethnic identity. Their faith in the one God, their adherence to the Torah, Their unique traditions and their strong communal bonds became the anchors of their survival. The synagogue and the home became the unwavering centers of Jewish life, preserving their spiritual and cultural heritage across generations. 4. The next year in Jerusalem. Hope. Throughout every wave of persecution, every forced migration, and every generation in foreign lands, the Jewish people clung to an unbreakable hope: the return to Zion and the coming of the Messiah. The phrase "next year in Jerusalem" became a central part of their Passover Seder, a powerful declaration of their enduring longing. This unwavering messianic and Zionist hope was the spiritual binding thread, an unconquerable dream that kept the collective identity alive against all odds, confirming God's unbreakable covenant with his people and his land. Part 6. The Land Awakens. Rebirth and Reclaiming Destiny. The late 19th and early 20th centuries witnessed a pivotal shift as the ancient hope for return began to materialize into a political and physical reality. 1. The rise of Zionism. Fueled by rising anti-Semitism in Europe and the spiritual yearning for Zion, a political movement for Jewish self-determination in Palestine emerged. Theodor Herzl, considered the father of modern Zionism, in his seminal work, Der Judenstaat, argued for the urgent necessity of a sovereign Jewish state in their ancient homeland. 2. Early Aliyah. Inspired by Zionist ideals, early waves of Jewish immigration began, with pioneers returning to a largely desolate and neglected land. They demonstrated incredible physical resilience, draining swamps, cultivating arid lands, and building new communities, often facing immense hardship and opposition from existing Arab populations. 3. The Balfour Declaration. During World War I, the British government issued the Balfour Declaration, publicly declaring its favor for the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Jewish people. This provided crucial international political support for the Zionist cause. 4. The British Mandate. After the collapse of the Ottoman Empire, Palestine came under British administration as a League of Nations mandate. Jewish immigration intensified, but so did Arab opposition, leading to escalating tensions and violence throughout the 1920s and 1930s. 5. The Holocaust, the ultimate test and catalyst. The systematic extermination of 6 million Jews by Nazi Germany and its collaborators was the greatest tragedy in Jewish history, and arguably the ultimate attempt to annihilate the Jewish people. This horrific genocide served as a profound confirmation of the urgent need for a secure Jewish homeland and galvanized international support and Jewish resolve for the establishment of a sovereign state. The survivors, many having nowhere else to go, desperately sought refuge in Palestine. Part 7. The Phoenix Rises, Modern Israel. Challenges and Triumphs. On May 14, 1948, the ancient prophecy of rebirth became a breathtaking reality, marking the greatest historical event for Israel in nearly 2 millennia. 1. Declaration of Independence. David Ben-Gurion, Israel's first prime minister, formally proclaimed the establishment of the State of Israel. This was a moment of unprecedented historical and prophetic significance, marking the fulfillment of Ezekiel's dry bones prophecy and the resurrection of a nation. 2. Immediate wars for survival. The very next day, the newly born State of Israel was invaded by a coalition of surrounding Arab states. The 1948 Arab-Israeli War was a desperate battle for survival, which Israel miraculously won, not only defending its existence, but also expanding its borders. Subsequent wars, for example, 1956 Suez Crisis, 1967 Six-Day War, 1973 Yom Kippur War, Lebanon Wars, Intifadas, ongoing Israeli-Palestinian conflict, continued to test Israel's resilience and its ability to defend itself in a hostile region. 3. Jerusalem reunited. During the Six-Day War, Israel recaptured East Jerusalem, including the Old City and the Temple Mount, bringing the entire city under Jewish, sovereignty for the first time since the Roman destruction in 70 AD. This event was viewed by many as a powerful prophetic fulfillment, ending Jerusalem being trodden down by Gentiles. 4. Nation building and prosperity. Despite constant security threats, Israel has achieved astonishing success in nation building. It rapidly developed into a vibrant, democratic state with a highly advanced economy. It is famously known as the Startup Nation, a global leader in high-tech, innovation, medical research, and cybersecurity, demonstrating remarkable ingenuity and adaptation. 5. Continuing ingathering of exiles. The process of Aliyah continues to this day, with Jews from around the world returning to Israel, strengthening the nation, and fulfilling biblical predictions of gathering the scattered flock. 6. Global significance. Despite its small size, Israel holds a disproportionately large amount of global attention and influence, often finding itself at the center of international diplomacy, religious discussions, and geopolitical conflicts, embodying its prophetic role as a sign to the nations. 7. Peace treaties. Israel has achieved historic breakthroughs with peace treaties, notably with Egypt, Jordan, and the recent Abraham Accords with several Arab nations. These demonstrate evolving regional dynamics and a complex pursuit of peace. Conclusion. A saga of unconquerable spirit and divine faithfulness. The entire history of Israel is an unparalleled saga of survival, resilience, and unwavering faith. From the ancient promises given to Abraham, through the crucible of slavery, the glory of kingdoms, the devastation of exiles, the miraculous rebirth in the 20th century, and its ongoing triumphs and challenges in the 21st century, Israel stands as a profound testament to God's unchanging faithfulness to his covenants. It is the story of a land that blossomed in the desert, a people who refused to be annihilated, and a nation that, against all odds, reclaimed its destiny. This unique history, marked by divine purpose, is a living book of prophecy, continuously unfolding and inviting all to witness the enduring power of God's plan for his chosen people and for humanity.